Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dear audience, let me share you our preliminary results about the advantage of the second military survey in the reconstruction of the Roman cadastral system called centuriatio. A short overview. First of all, I will tell you the most important things about the Roman province and the Roman city, what we are investigating. And after that, I will describe what is the centuriatio at all. After that, I will show you the method and the results of our works. I will use a few Latin terms, for example, centuriatio, but I will describe what this means and so on. So, the study area is a Roman province called Pannonia. It was occupied in the 1st century after that under the domination of emperors Augustus and Tiberius. The province has been divided in several times, in the 2nd century, in the 3rd century, and so on. And sometimes the city of Savaria was the seat of the smaller province of that. The margin, the borders of Pannonian province was the Danube River on the north and on the east, the Alps on the west, and approximately the Sava River on the south. And what about Savaria? It's located here, recently called Szombathely. It was established at the junction of main roads. For example, you can see that north-south road, what was a main trade road between the Baltics and the Mediterranean area, called the Ember route. The city was established around 50 under the dominion of Claudius Emperor, and the city was originally called Colonia Claudia Savaria. And why was it important to establish a city there? It had economical aims, but it was very important because the veterans from Carnuntum had to be settled down to cultivate area and live their life after the 20-25 years work as soldiers. In Savaria, Szombathely, for the Ember route are unburied, so it can be busy, as well as the ruins of the city of Savaria. In a few words, what is centuriatio? After they established the city, the colony of Savaria, the surveyors arrived there and started to designate the backbone of the cadastral system of the city. Firstly, they designated Carpo Maximus and Decumanus Maximus, and after that, in certain distances, they divided the vicinity of the city to very regular rectangular system. This system is called centuriatio, and one of these rectangular is a centuria. Every veteran can rent an area inside that centuria, not a regular area. You can see in that figure that is dependent on how much money they had. The maximum area was allowed 1.25 square kilometers. Usually, the surveyors also mapped this cadastral system with the topographic features. For example, in the case of Orange, France, it remained as the stone map, what you can see here. What about that model cadastral system? Before the 90s in Hungary, that was not easy, the work of the archaeologists. They didn't have any access to area photographs or topographic maps. That's why they used the data from the excavation. You can see here some examples where they found the road system or trenches and so on, what represent the cadastral system of the neighboring area. And my co-author using that data, modeled the cadastral system of the vicinity of Szombathely. It was very successful because using that grid, they already found a lot of ruins around the city. You can see here the result of the modeled cadastral system. We put that on Google Earth. And for example, the border of different cultivated areas, the grid remained, as well as the recent roads in Szombathely, Savaria. What kind of remainders can show this cadastral grid of the Roman Empire? First of all, they built paved roads. Unfortunately, they built that only in the cities or the very close vicinity of the city, but it remained in very good state, for example, as you can see on the figure. And what about the further area? They also built roads, but it was covered only by gravel. Usually, it also remained to recent times, for example, as you can see on the left upper figure. But I show another example in the case of Pula, Italy, where you can recognize very well that rectangular system that remained for 1,500 years or more. What other remainders? As I mentioned, the cultivation border remained as well. There were works that proved that over thousands of years it could remain, because it was the border of property and it herited to other people, and it was possible to remain till recent times. And ditches were also represent the border of this cadastral system. This kind of feature have the higher significance in this study. What were our aims? I show you the fluvial system of the study area with the cadastral system what was modeled by my co-author. You can see that somehow the creek followed the direction of that grid. Obviously it started to meandering and curving, so we can recognize straight lines as ditches, but it suggests that somehow it could remain. We have a theory that the Romans regulated the smaller creeks as to be the border of the different properties. On this map, I made a sketch how shall it look like a Roman centuriatio with the villas. Here are the houses where the veterans live, and I highlighted the borders with black line, and where they regulated the creek not to flow across certain area, as represented in a blue line. After the Romans abandoned the area, obviously the drainage network remained in the state, but after hundreds of years it started to curving and bending again, so maybe this can be the recent state. And what we wanted to do, we aimed at the automatic querying to find that sections what could represent the orientation of that cadastral system to reconstruct or strengthen the theory of the centuriatio. And after that it would be useful to designate some measurement spots on the field. We used second military survey what was created in the 19th century with good geodetic base, so it's accurate enough. It's most important that the fluvial system are in natural state, so we can use this kind of investigation, and it's very high detailed. We proved that it's much high detail than, for example, the recent topographic maps. We had to vectorize the whole fluvial system of the study area, and of course we used the vector grid of the model cadastral system with the directions and the size of that, what you can see on the slide. First of all, we had to vectorize the fluvial system. After we assigned IDs to every individual streams, And we had to assign coordinates to every breakpoints of the rivers. After that, we had to dissolve all the streams to 2-point vector sections, and we could calculate after the direction, the length of the sections. First of all, we tried to highlight the reaches what have similar direction to the local grid. That was a good result, but we wasn't delighted because there are only very short sections what maybe represent the grid what remained till recent time. After that, we find out that we will calculate the average direction of longer reaches. It show much better result, but there are some problems in meandering sections, and we neither were delighted with that result. After that, we used the smooth direction, what means that we calculated the direction between the first and the 10th point, and we represented that, what shows much better fit to the grid of the cadastral system. Our conclusion that second military survey is a proper tool to query the fluvial system section what can represent the local centuriatio grid due to its higher detail. For example, I compared with the recent drainage network, it's a darker blue. You can see that all of the streams are already regulated and not represent the original state of the rivers. We still have problems, for example, with the short sections, short reaches, because we use the 10 breakpoint distance for the calculation, and we still have problems with the meandering sections. The long straight sections are also lead problems because that is also 2-pointed on vector. But we aimed to solve that mentioned problems. I found out to use, for example, multi-window classification to solve the mentioned problems, and we compare our results with recent geomorphologic features, for example, the ditches from the topographic maps, so on. We also want to use further maps and further elements. For example, this is a cadastral system of the county that we are investigating, and we can also investigate former groups. For example, here you can see that it's written via Romanorum. And after that, when we designated spots where what is worth to investigate with field measurements, for example, with excavation or geophysical